Hello, and welcome back to World Hydrogen North America 2025, brought to you by World Hydrogen Leaders, now a part of S&P Global. My name is Brian Murphy. I'm the head of hydrogen research at S&P Global Commodity Insights, and I'm joined today by Dr. Naomi Boness from the Stanford Hydrogen Initiative. Thank you so much for joining me, Naomi.
Thank you for inviting me, Brian.
So I think we could start by learning a little bit more about the Stanford Hydrogen Initiative. What is it that you guys are doing in this space?
Yeah, so we are an industry-sponsored consortium that does hydrogen research across the whole value chain. So we have over 40 faculty members, which is a group of about 150 researchers working on everything from how do we make lower cost sustainable hydrogen, how do we distribute it and transport it and store it, how do we use it in end use applications, and all of the policy and economic framework that comes with that value chain.
Okay, well, you've been here in Houston for about a day and a half. How would you summarize the conversations that you've been having here at the conference so far?
Well, I think despite the political landscape, and we're all in a pause mode right now in North America, what I will say is that I think that there's a lot of optimism still around using hydrogen. I think it's very clear that as we move to decarbonization at a global level, there is a role for clean fuels, and hydrogen is certainly going to be part of that equation.
And where specifically are you optimistic about hydrogen uses? Maybe not focused on North America right now, but globally.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's, it's a regional solution for many places, right? So I think even within North America, we're going to see pockets of activity. So I suspect that in California, many of the green hydrogen projects will go ahead. Along the Gulf Coast, we're very excited about the blue projects. I think there's 7 blue projects under construction right now, and more that will likely move forward. And then globally, there's a lot of places that are net importers of energy, so places that don't have the resources that we're blessed to have here in the United States. But they have a lot of solar and wind and are very excited about using hydrogen to support their developing economies. So a place that I've been spending a lot of time recently is India. So India has about 100 gigawatts of solar installed already and about another 100 under construction. Just for reference, the US has 220 gigawatts of solar. So it's comparable. And their solar is really high quality, so they don't have the seasonal differences between winter and summer that we have here. And so using hydrogen in a place like India makes a lot of sense. And if you couple that with their need for derivatives like ammonia for the agricultural sector, it creates, I think, optimum conditions for low-cost, useful green hydrogen production.
So it sounds like the Hydrogen Initiative doesn't just focus on North America, but also globally. What other parts of the world have you been to recently, or are you excited about in the next couple of years?
Yeah, the other place that I went to recently was Saudi Arabia. So I think the Middle East also is blessed with natural resources. And they're really looking towards what's happening in Europe and seeing markets for exporting clean hydrogen and derivatives like ammonia. And so, there's great natural gas resources coupled with storage for carbon, underground geologic storage. And they're also, I think, planning to put in 130 gigawatts of solar, and much of that will be used to make hydrogen and derivatives to export to places like Europe and Japan that are going to, I think, continue to increase their imports of hydrogen.
It's certainly a different conversation than we were having a couple of years ago, right? You've mentioned hundreds of gigawatts of solar multiple times in this conversation.
Yeah, and I think, that's the scale that we really need to be at for this to make a dent. The largest installation for electrolytic hydrogen from solar resources is in China. I think that's 250 megawatts, right? And we need to be at the gigawatt scale if we're going to start really making a dent in decarbonizing fuels. So it's the reason that I think a lot about the carbon intensity rather than the colors. I think that making hydrogen from natural gas with CCS is the mechanism that we can use to really grow these markets and produce hydrogen at scale in a quick and meaningful way.
So almost like using CCS as a transition from current energy system to a future much more decarbonized energy system?
I think that instead of thinking about it as a transition, I think we should think about, what are the technologies available to us today that allow us to decarbonize in a meaningful way? And we need to be capturing gigatons of CO2 a year, something on the order of 3 gigatons actually a year, in order to bend the curve on our emissions and the subsequent global warming.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts. This has been an interview with Dr. Naomi Boness from the Stanford Hydrogen Initiative. Again, my name is Brian Murphy, and thank you for joining us at World Hydrogen North America 2025.